a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Jeremy Lee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee.
All right, guys, we are back for another episode of the Fanatics Collect Hockey Auction Ending Watch Party, the weekly one. It is November the 17th, 2024. My name is Jeremy Lee. Welcome back, everybody. Let's bring out from the Gong Show, Mr. Josh Madigan. Josh, hello, and how are you?
I'm awesome. Happy Sunday. So who's winning the Grey Cup? Never got that out of you.
Checked, and it's Toronto Argonauts are 24, Winnipeg Blue Bombers 16.
Oh, okay.
6.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Toronto's got the ball. Not looking good for my Blue Bombers. I say my Blue Bombers, but that's kind of loose there. I've never been a huge CFL fan, but I'm going to cheer for my previous home team anyway. But we'll see how it goes. So, but Expo last weekend was Expo. We both had action-packed weekends in Toronto. You know, and I know you've talked about it on the Gong Show, but let's talk about it here a little bit.
Okay.
Man, we had first of all, it was great to see you, spend time with you in person. We got to chum around quite a bit. I want to thank you for coming to the Thursday night networking event, and anyone else out there who came by. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks to Upper Deck for sponsoring the appetizers. We had a great night that night, followed by the next night, the epic Rip Party at Chateau Gong Show. I want to thank you for having me there. And what a wonderful event. That was Thursday night. We had the minting trade night at the Expo was awesome, Josh. I mean, I had a really good time there, mostly because of the people, the relationships, the community. Are you recovered?
Yeah. Last few days, literally. So Baba Louie and I drove back on Monday morning. I was terrible. I slept the whole time. The poor guy. I was so tired, Jeremy. And then on Tuesday, I slept all day too. I was just so exhausted, and it was an amazing expo. It went by in a blink of an eye. It's almost too fast in some ways. It's like I didn't get to do all the stuff I wanted to, but then maybe I thought, well, that's good because that keeps you wanting to go back.
Yeah, for sure. It was a great time. It was a great weekend overall, and looking forward to the next one. And of course, all the card shows that we get to go to. We're on the Fanatics Collect show here, and hoping that there's going to be some more Fanatics card shows in the future. Maybe Fanatics Fest. I don't know what the status is of these things at this point, but I'm sure there will be some messaging, or I expect there to be some messaging from Fanatics over the next little bit about what we can expect in the future as card show fans and attendees. So card shows to the moon, if that makes any sense, because I just absolutely love card shows. So we got a fun show tonight. We got some really great cards on the platform tonight, and we're gonna run through a whole bunch of them. I'm not sure exactly how many I have favorited, but let's just have a quick look. Let's run through the items tonight really quick. We have some 51 and 52 Parkies right there. Skip right ahead to 1970 Topps Bobby Orr, right into the end of the 70s with some Gretzky's, and now the 80s we have a Lemieux box bottom again. Skips us all the way ahead to the 90s and a couple of Gretzky's, and then into the 2000s we got the Ovechkin Young Guns. We got some cup cards from the 2006-7. This is a really interesting card right here. This is a dual autograph shield of Ovechkin and Backstrom. It's at $20,500 in a BGS 6. I noticed this earlier today, Josh, when I opened this up. It was at $15,000, and I was already surprised by how high it was, but that's pretty awesome to see. We got some McDavids and Gretzky's, Matthews, Young Guns, Makars, and Adam Fox. Then if we can go to the next page, I'm going to do it on a separate tab. We're into the Bedards. Now we're into the 2020s. Bedard, Fantilli, Connor Zary, Young Gun Clear Cut, some Bedard Young Guns, and a Logan Cooley. So what's that? 24. We have 30 cards that we are really going to focus in on. If anyone watching would like us to look at any other cards, just say the word. And if you're bidding on any cards tonight, please go ahead and use the Sports Cards Live affiliate link. It is in the description to the video, but I will go one step further and put it into the chat. Just going to take me a minute to go grab that. I don't have that handy right away, but I'm going to go grab that and put that into the chat. And then we also have some topics to discuss, because there's things going on out there in the world of hockey that I think are exciting, and I know Josh does too, that we'd like to talk about tonight. So one of them being the fact that Alex Ovechkin he's on a bit of a tear right now, which is somewhat, I guess I'll say I'm a little bit surprised. I wasn't expecting him to be having as good of a goal scoring season as he is right now, Josh, but he's got, I think it's 11 goals now, one more today. He's only 30 away now from Gretzky's record. He's on pace to do it this year. I hope he does. I wasn't expecting that, but I hope he does. And then I want to talk about some Hall of Fame stuff, because it's fun. It's fun to talk about and get some discussion going, some discourse going with us, and of course with the chat as well. Just clicked on Instagram. So, and now I've got the link in the chat, guys. Please do click on that if you're going to bid on any cards in the weekly. Doesn't have to be only hockey. Let's say a quick hello to Jacob Dahl. What's going on, Jake? Good to see you. As always, Jacob Dahl and Jeff McMahon. I don't think you guys miss a show, and I just want to let both of you guys know that I every time I see your names in the chat, both of you, Jake Dahl, Jeff McMahon, I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys being here. I think you two might be the most consistent viewers I have, so thank you both. Larry, good to see you. Kinger, good evening. Todd and listen, all you other guys are here a lot too. Don't get me wrong. Todd McDonald, good evening to you. Richie Rocket, side question. What are you instructing sellers, buyers at this time with respect to Canada Post strike? Yeah, we can talk about that. We'll come back to that, Richie. We'll come back to that. Larry says that is a big gap between Makar and Fox. Is that the B? I don't know what you mean by that, but they're both defensemen, which is interesting. Perry's Custom, welcome to the show. Mike Double V, good to see you. Big win by the Bills today, and the Argos are up by 8 in the fourth quarter. Yeah, I know. And how much time is left now in that? Oh, now they're up by 11. They must have scored a field goal. Yeah, that's it. I guess the Bombers are not going to win the Grey Cup this year. That's okay. I don't care that much. But okay, so I want to go back. Let's go back to first. Let's go to Larry's question here. That is a big gap between the Makars and the Fox. So let's have a look and see what you are referring to. They're on the previous page here. Let's scroll all the way down. There's the prices. Yeah, I mean the PSA 10 Fox at 82, which is like 98 or so, and the two Makars, which are basically encroaching on $500. That is a big gap. But Makar has the hardware. I don't think Fox has any hardware yet. Makar's got a hardware to fill up a whole trophy wall. And that's probably the difference right there, I would think. Josh, what do you think? I mean, Adam Fox, I believe he's American-born. Makar's Canadian, right? Yeah, he's from Calgary.
Yeah, he's from Calgary,
where I live. And Josh, I'm going to put out there, my theory is what I just said. Makar's got the hardware. Fox doesn't yet. Do you think that explains most of that delta in those values?
I think Adam Fox is good, but I don't think he's anywhere near Cale Makar. I mean, look at the year that they're having. Cale Makar amongst defensemen, first in the NHL in points, 25 points in 18 games. And Adam Fox is 15th, very respectable, but 13 points. He's got half the points of Cale Makar to this point of the season. And I don't know, it's Cale Makar, for whatever reason, is the anointed one at that position. He's the Connor McDavid of defensemen.
Agreed. Adam Fox is sitting at 13 points in 26. Oh, no, that's his age. 13 points in 15 games. I thought 26 was too many. While Makar has 25 and 18. I mean, he's 1.5 points per game right here, while Fox is under a point a game. So there is that as well. And I think Josh said it really well that Makar is the Connor McDavid of defensemen. So I think that was a nice way to put it. Hello to Perry. We said that already. And Larry said, is there value in Fox? I mean, at the Expo, I sold my Adam Fox Young Guns. So, I mean, people are buying it. I think he's cheap. And if he wins a couple things have to happen. He has to win hardware, and he has to up his point per game total to at least 1, which is going to be tough to do. So is there value in Fox? Not a lot, I don't think. I wouldn't advise investing in Fox. Collect his Young Gun if you like Young Guns, but I wouldn't look at that as an investment at this point.
Yeah, if I could chime in on that, I'm almost starting to look at players in those two categories. If it's a PC player or an investable player. And I think Adam Fox, to me, would fit in like a higher end PC player.
And to build on that a bit more, the most beautiful thing is when those players overlap. When those two approaches overlap on the same player, I mean, and you can have a player that you collect, but they're also investable. Like that's where guys like, well, all the GOATs fit into that class. All the future GOATs fit into that class. But don't think that every rookie is going to fit into that class eventually. So pick 6 Argos up by 18 now. 18
wheels are falling off, Jeremy.
God. Yeah, 34-16. That game is over. Congrats to the Toronto Argonauts. All right. And then let's talk about Richie's comment on Canada Post. So here's where I sit on this. And this is, now, first of all, we are on the Fanatics Collect show. So Fanatics Collect is based out of the US. And I don't know how most people just kind of leave their cards in the Fanatics vault. So it doesn't necessarily apply to this show and to Fanatics, who is sponsoring this show. So I'm not going to talk about this much, Richard, but I will say simply that if you can be patient, I think you can get some great deals from Canadian sellers. And I think we'll just leave it at that here on the Fanatics Collect show this week. Okay, Josh, let's go to the top. Let's run through these cards. We have 18 minutes left until all access extended bidding begins. And we've selected some pretty nice cards here to look at. We're going to start with the 51 Parkies. We have a Bill Mosienko and a Ted Lindsay. And Ted Lindsay is a Hall of Famer. He played on the line with Gordie Howe and, just one of the all-time greats. And as I know, Josh, I think Lindsay's one of the players who founded the PA. Is that right?
Yeah, really to the detriment of his own career. And it cost him and really his legacy. And so I think that makes him an interesting player from a hobby standpoint, because really the players today owe him a debt of gratitude. And that's part of the reason why they renamed the Lester B. Pearson Award to the Ted Lindsay Award, which is the most valuable player as voted on by the members of the Player Association. And yeah, he did play on the line with Gordie Howe and Sid Abel as the production line, as was called. And I think the most unique thing is that I think in one season, all three were 1, 2, 3 in NHL scoring. Yeah,
crazy. Speaking of NHL scoring, Kinger and Kevin have both let us know that Ovi just snapped his second goal of the night. 20 guys, this countdown is getting hot and heavy. 29 goals away now from tying Gretzky, I guess now 30. Let's just have a quick look at the all-time goal scoring race. So we're now at 865 for Ovechkin, putting him 29 away from tying, 30 away from beating and owning the all-time goals record. I mean, it's getting harder and harder for me to deny the fact that he's going to get there this year. I want him to, but I was just skeptical because of the slow start early on, but he's kind of bounced back really quick. Mm-hmm. Very cool. Let's see what Ali says. He says, there's a card I am really looking for, but it's out of 5, and I live in Los Angeles. It's the 2012 Essential Credentials Joe Sakic Future. Do you offer or know anyone who will accept the finder's fee? I mean, we'll keep our eyes open, Ali. That's all we can tell you on that. That is a tough card for sure. And Larry says, I would love if you guys would do a show looking at the Fanatics Collect Market Buy It Now card. There are some interesting cards, and some are priced reasonably. Larry, I think that's a fantastic idea. We can do that tonight, Larry. I hope you're okay with that. If we just kind of dip our toes tonight and have a look, I think we can take a few minutes here and there and do that, because I think it's a great idea. Larry, thank you. And Dog Food Soup. This is a guy from my past. Chris, glad to have you jump on and letting me know you're here. He wants to know, should I be selling my OV Young Guns now? You know what? I think we're about there, Josh. I think we are just about at the time where we should be selling Ovechkins, because I always say no matter if it's winning the Stanley Cup, being inducted into the Hall of Fame, winning a scoring title, winning a trophy, that is not the time you should not, to maximize your return. I don't think you want to list your cards for sale once that is accomplished, because that's when everyone is going to do it. The mass public is going to start to do it at that time, flood the market, and prices will come down. Just look at what happened when Mahomes won his Super Bowls. That's what happens. Everyone just loads up the selling platforms, including Fanatics Collect, with their cards, and the market gets flooded, and the prices inevitably come down. The time to sell is in anticipation of these things happening. And I was thinking, best time to sell Ovi would be maybe when he's 10 goals away. But that measure of how many goals away from the record you should start selling also depends on how fast the acceleration, the speed at which he's getting there. And it seems like he's speeding up. And so 10 might be too late, because if you list when he has his 10 away, by the time the auction ends, he could be 2 away. So I think you want to start thinking about selling right about in the next couple weeks. Like once he's maybe 20, 25 goals away. It's tough. There's no perfect science to that, but those are my general thoughts. Josh, what do you think of that?
I think those are good. And what I would add to that is, to me, the time to sell is when the hobby as a collective resigns itself or realizes that the goals record is going to happen, that there's no more doubt anymore. And to your point, I think we're getting closer and closer to that. The one piece of advice that I might throw in is, don't try to be, if you try to set the all-time high, you're going to lose. Take the win. If your intention is to get rid of it and you're in the black on the card now, just sell it when you're comfortable. And so what if somebody gets $100 more than you for it? I think so often that when people try to get that all-time high, they wait and wait and wait, and they wait too long.
I think you're right. Don't get too greedy with this. But I will say that if you start selling after he breaks the record, I think you've missed your best opportunity. So sometime between now and, whenever he's on pace to break that, I think someone I saw calculated when he was expected to break it. I think it was sometime in March. I think you could probably move that forward a little bit if he maintains his current pace. So Kinger says, I've been hunting the Ovi SP redemption for a while. I heard only 250 were redeemed. So you're talking about the 2004-5, or are you talking about the 04-05 card? I think that's the one he's talking about, the XRC without the auto. And that's a cool card for sure. All right. Thank you for the update on Ovechkin's goals tonight, guys. Thank you, Larry, for that great suggestion. Ali, I hope you find your Sakic essential credentials. Back to Mosienko and Ted Lindsay. 251 Parker's cards. Mosienko is coming in at a PSA 8. We will take a look at that. And Ted Lindsay is in a PSA 7 holder. The Mosienko looks really good. It's a little bit dark, but that's okay. I think that's fine. You got a couple fisheyes on there, but side-to-side centering is very nice. Top to bottom, it's a little bit high. Corners and edges all look really nice to me. And the Ted Lindsay, you can just see how much lighter this card stock is. Look at just the color of the stock there versus there. And this Lindsay, it's a 7. It's got great edges, really nice corners. It's got great color. I really like just how bold and kind of popping the red and the black text are, because often those things do fade. The problem with this card is, and it's not actually, no, I'm not, it's not a, I don't know if my eyes are playing tricks on me or if it's because this card is on an angle in the PSA slab. I was wondering, does this card have tilt? But I don't think it does. I don't think there's tilt on this card. You look at these side borders, they're pretty uniform top to bottom. Maybe there is a little bit, maybe it's slightly diamond cut. It's hard to tell because I'm looking at the top border. Does it get wider as you move to the right here? Maybe only slightly. This one's tough. Yeah, Dog Food Soup here says it's crooked. Look at the red text versus the bottom. Yeah, I'm looking at that. Does it get a little narrower as you move to the right there? Mike is saying it looks crooked in the holder. It is definitely crooked in the holder. I'm trying to figure out, is it crooked? Does it have tilt or is it diamond cut? And it might be. But outside of that, everything looks really nice on that card. And then I'll go through these 51 or the 52s, Josh, and we'll call your opinion on all 5 cards.
Okay.
We have the Gordie Howe, one of my favorite cards, 52 Gordie. We have a Milt Schmidt, which is really nice, and a 52 Terry Sawchuk. Those are all second-year cards. So let's look at the Gordie. PSA 6. I love this card. This card, as you'll notice, is pretty off-centered. It's low and it's off to the right. But this is a really hard card to find centered. And all the whole set, really. So let's look at the edges and corners. Very nice. Color is good. Maybe a slight registration issue. You can see this yellow coming above the jersey and the black outline of it. A little blurry in the face, but still a very nice copy overall. It has one of Josh's favorite features, the facsimile autograph. Josh loves facsimile autographs on the card. You have that's not a real auto. It is a facsimile. And I'm poking fun because I know Josh is not a fan of facsimile autographs. I tend to do that every week now. But this is a really nice copy if you're okay with that centering. The Milt Schmidt, though, this thing is an absolute stunner of a card. Notice how you've got the detail in the background. You've got the people in the crowd. You've got the clock, the flags hanging here, more people in the crowd there. But look at the Gordie Howe. It's all yellowed out, which I don't love, but I still do love the card. And Terry Sawchuk has the same thing. You have the detail in the background. I have a copy of the Terry Sawchuk card. I love my copy. It's beautiful. I love this card. I like it more than his 51 Parkhurst rookie card personally. I love all 3 of these. I don't have a Milt Schmidt. I don't covet a Milt Schmidt, but I think this is just a gorgeous card. If you are doing a 52 Parkhurst set, this is and you can afford it, this is your copy. I highly recommend this copy. I absolutely love it. And does it have eye appeal? It does. Above average eye appeal from the Fanatics Collect, top 30% of copies, which makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, I've said my pieces on these 5 cards. I want to give Josh an opportunity to chime in on any or all.
Well, the thing that stands out to me is, what is it, 5 51 and 52 cards that are all really high grade. You don't see cards of this vintage with that high of grade very often. And so it is a unique opportunity. You're right that Milt Schmidt it feels like it's about as nice of a 52 card you're ever going to find.
Yeah, I closed it by accident, but this one right here, I love everything. I used to own a copy of this card. Back in the day, I had a copy of this card. I don't anymore. I just think it's just beautiful. I love the colors, the yellow. I love even the way the boards are a little pinkish, the color of the ice, the way he's balanced in the center of the card. Oh, what a beauty.
The registration looks almost perfect too.
Oh, the focus, the registration. It's just, I'm talking myself into this card. It's, 52 Parkhurst is aesthetically a superior set to 51, even though 51 are the rookie cards. But if you're not like a rookie card fanatic, 52s are just beautiful. Just beautiful. I can't get over them. All right, let's keep on going. We've got a 1970 Topps Bobby Orr PSA 9. I mean, that's pretty high grade right there. Another one of Josh's favorite things in hockey cards is the 1970 Topps set with those spotlights in the back. But his favorite thing about this card are Bobby Orr's legs and the fact that his eyes are closed. Like he's basically like having narcolepsy right here. He's sleeping, and Josh, please provide your assessment of those calves and skates.
Well, here's my assumption is that in this era, there was no like Photoshop or Canva where you could just do background removers. So when they had to take a photo of a player and put him on a crazy background like this card is on, I think they had to like cut him out. And someone got maybe a little lazy with the scissors around, especially from the knee down to the ankles. Honestly, I think this is one of the most hideous looking great cards of all time. I mean, it's a beautiful condition. It's one of the Mount Rushmore players. I understand the significance of the card, but it's brutally bad.
Hideous looking great cards. I love that. But you're right. It's not a pretty card. Like, let me rephrase. The image isn't pretty. It's not a great, like if I'm Bobby Orr, I'm not happy with Topps right now about this card or back in 1971 or whatever when it came out. But that said, it's still a really cool card. It is important. See 6, 7, 8, 9. It's a 5th year Bobby Orr. It's a high grade PSA 9. The card looks good. Like, obviously, it's off center a little bit to the right, a little bit low, but well within PSA's centering standards for a mint 9. It's probably within their 10 standards as well. It's a great looking card. The one, the from edges and corners, very nice. Registration, decent. It didn't. You don't see a copy of this card where it's completely clean. The one flaw I'm noticing is there seems to be like a print line coming right down here. Can you guys see that print line?
Yeah,
coming right down, right from the shoulder all the way down through the shin pads here. But otherwise, a really nice card right there. I'm just going to close up a bunch of these windows with these images as we move on to the Gretzky rookie. This is a Topps now it says SGC 8.5, but I don't know what this holder is. So this says SBC 92. Why are we calling it? Why are we calling it an SGC 8.5? Does anyone in the chat know what this is? Because I don't. I've never seen this slab before, unless it's maybe this was SGC before SGC was called SGC. Maybe this is in the history of grading companies. I'm speculating here. Maybe they were called SBC and then they changed their name to SGC. That's the only thing I can think about that would tell me that this card is SGC. I don't think Fanatics made a mistake here. I just don't. I think that must be the case. Before I get into the card itself, Josh, do you have any insight into that?
I don't, but I would think the cert number could maybe support that assertion that you made. If it's, I want to be careful because I have no idea what SBC is, but whatever grading company this is, it looks like this was the 1034 card graded by them.
Very early in their grading career here. Now we have to understand 92 is not 92 out of 100. This does not mean that this card is like a 9 or better. SGC's old grading scale, a 92 might have equated to an 8 or something like that. I don't know exactly. And I wonder, actually, I think Fanatics has it here. 8.5. This would equate to an 8.5. Even though you don't see 8.5 on here, I do think Fanatics is right about that. I'm assuming they're right about that. Now, let's look at the card itself. Obviously, it is extremely off-centered to the right. Top to bottom, almost perfect, though. Almost perfect. Corners and edges, look really clean. Extremely clean. The bottom left corner has the smallest touch of white, but it's almost not even there. The oil drop is basically perfectly placed. So it comes down to two things on this card to me, maybe three. Centering, which is, what is that? 85-15, 80-20, something like that. And then hopefully you guys have noticed the fisheye right over here, which is a bit of a distraction, but not too bad. And then there's these two little black dots up here. I don't know what those are. Maybe they're just print marks or something, but they are definitely on the, I think they're on the card and not on the slab. So this card, it grades out an 8.5 back then. Is it an 8.5 today? I don't know. That centering's pretty rough. What would like PSA grade this today? I don't know. I don't know if it would get an 8 even. I just don't know. It's sitting right now here at $1,925 plus buyer's premium. I'm not offended by that at all. I like this comment from Dog Food Soup. Says, even with his eyes closed and his peg-legged lower legs, he still scored 3 goals while posing for that photo. Talking about the Bobby Orr card right over here.
So I did find some info on SBC. Now, this is from a message board, so take it with a grain of salt. It says Joe Merkel created and ran SBC around 1988 to 1990-ish. The company then ceased. Around 1997, the NGC, their coin guys, owners, thought it'd be a good idea to extend to card grading. They then hired Joe Merkel in 1998 as an employee based on his past experience with SBC. Some of Joe's better ideas from SBC were then used for SGC brand. Joe lasted just over 1 year at SGC. So SBC and SGC have always been totally different entities, but due to Merkel, similarities are evident.
So I don't know how you can call this SGC then. I don't know how Fanatics can call this an SGC 8.5 because I mean individuals are different from corporate entities.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big leap of faith. I think that's a big stretch there. But I want to open up the see if they say anything in the description. No, there's nothing there. Sales history. What is this new? Each entry represents the same product with identical variant, grade, and greater details. This is something new here, where they're actually showing it all the historical sales of the card. I'm guessing that these are actual SGC 8.5s. I can't personally consider this to be an SGC graded card. I'm actually surprised that Fanatics Collect allowed it into the auction, but I'm sure they have their reasons. So not gonna say that they're wrong in doing it. They can do it how they want. So keep in mind, if it's a card you're thinking of bidding on, it's not actually an SGC card. SBC just had the employee from SBC, or the guy that started, went and worked at SGC. So if what we're reading is correct as well. So
Yes.
we're taking a few kind of leaps here. Dog Food says, quick Google search says SBC and SGC were separate. Just like you said, SGC started in 88 and SBC certification was in the 80s. Producer Louie, what's going on, Louie? Good to see you, buddy. Is it a typo, the B below the G? It could be no, I don't think it's a typo, because number one, Fanatics has interpreted the grade of 92 to be an 8.5. So that was a deliberate, like they had to think about that. They think, what does 92 equate to? So I don't think it's a, and then they have a policy, Fanatics Collect, as of what grading company slabs are allowed on their platform. And I don't think SBC is on that. So, but maybe they have a qualifier that says, or predecessors of these grading companies. And then they're considering this to be a predecessor, which, isn't the end of the world. And if the same guy graded them, who cares? I'm okay with it. So moving on. Mark Messier, PSA 8, 1980, O-Pee-Chee, rookie card. Nice looking card, except for the centering. It's obviously off center to the left. Corners and edges look really good. You got the O-Pee-Chee rough cut coming down both sides. Nice color, decent registration, but not perfect. What I'm seeing to call it the imperfection is that look in the green border here. You can see some of this extra ink coming through from the boards. You see some darkness coming in over the thin black line. You see some more of it right over here. It's hard to see if you see a bunch of it right over here, but minor, no big deal. PSA 8 sitting at 240 right now. And then finally, one of my favorite cards is the O-Pee-Chee Mario Lemieux rookie box bottom from 1985. Now, this is slabbed as authentic, but it looks like a really, really nicely cut copy. These are hand cut. It says it right there on the slab. This is a great looking copy of it. Maybe a scratch right there on the surface, there as well. That might be a scratch through the surface. I'm not seeing anything else though from a condition flaw perspective that like brings my eye to it. Now, why is it slabbed authentic and not graded? I don't know exactly, but it might be because there's really no evidence on the front of this card that it's from a box bottom. Like there's no white border showing or black, perforation lines, which you often see on these, and which I think you need to have showing on the front of the card for it to get a numerical grade. All that said, though, this might be one of the nicer copies I've seen of this card without having a numerical grade.
There might be on the left edge. Look at the left edge. I thought I saw the perforation line, or it might be just the holder.
It might. I think it's
just the holder.
I think it's that ridge, that PSA. Yeah, because you don't see it down there.
Yeah.
But no, always call that stuff out, Josh. I want to make sure we're looking at those details. So, yeah, great looking copy. I really, really like it. 180, but guys, this is a case, guys, where don't just look at the slab. Look at the card. Look at the card. This card in a numerical grade sells for really good money. And actually, because we just saw that Fanatics is putting in some previous sales, now we're only seeing a few here, and we're not seeing the other grades. But, PSA 5, 6s, 7s, 8s, they go for good money. This is an opportunity to buy a really nice copy of this card. Look at the back. It's super clean.
Yeah.
Like, guys, no, never mind. I want to bid on it. I can't bid on this account. I'm bidding on this card. This is too nice, guys. This is too nice. I got to go on my phone because I can't. For some reason, I'm having trouble. This is an account I can't bid with because I don't want to show you guys my cards, like when I'm bidding on a card. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm putting in a bid on this because I just love it. Sorry, Josh, I apologize.
No, that's okay. So it doesn't bother you that it maybe would be disqualified from a numerical grade because there isn't that border showing?
I want to own cards that I love to look at. I don't care what the grading company says about it unless I do care. In many cases, I do care. In this case, I don't care. There's a PSA 9 on the Fanatics buy it now for $8,500. It's a Topps copy. Weekly. Got to go to weekly. Oh, it's already been bid up. It's up to 210 now. Are you guys bidding on this now?
Probably.
Yeah, I just put in a bid. You should see it go up now. That's my bid to 220. I'm gonna keep that open. I mean, if anyone in the chat does want to buy this card, I have a copy already, but I think this is just too good of a deal and too nice of a card. If any of you want to buy this card, let me know and I will back off. But if I don't see that, if I'm bidding at someone who's not watching, I'm gonna bid on this card. I'm just telling you that. I mean, I shouldn't tell you because I don't want you to bid me up, but I'm just telling you that. So back to the thing. I want to own cards I love. I don't care that it says authentic. At least it's authentic. This is a beautiful copy of this card. And I think more and more people are starting to realize it. Buy the card, not the grade. So anyway, those are my thoughts on that. David G. David, what do you think? Is this not a one? And David's a vintage guy. He knows his vintage. What do you think about this card right here? Dog Food says it would say altered if the perforated edge had been removed, wouldn't it? No, it wouldn't say altered because these are hand cut. So there are no altered copies of this card. There shouldn't be. They're all altered. But because of that, they just say hand cut right on the slab itself. Good evening, Professor. Guys, just a reminder, I did pin to the top of the chat. I pinned the link, the Sports Cards Live affiliate link. If you are bidding on anything, please click that link. I'm going to do that myself actually on this. Please click that link before you bid, and SCL will earn a small commission. Doesn't cost you anything extra. I'm going to just put in another bid right now. All right. Yeah, you got it. You got it, Chris. You got it. Todd says, very nice copy as most have many scratches. Yeah. And Ali, what are your thoughts on the Allure 16-bit cards? Well, let's go to Josh on that. I think, how many years of 16 bits do we have now, Josh?
3. So I prefer the first design or year release was 2021-22. I think that's the best design by far. My other opinion on 16-bit, I like them. I have the Gretzky from the second release, is collect the first. And so the reason why I bought the Gretzky is he was not in the 2021 product. So the 2022, even though I think the design's a little bit inferior to the year before, it's the first Wayne Gretzky 16-bit.
Interesting. Yeah, that's I personally like them. It's really funny. I have my setup here, guys. I'm looking at my big monitor, and my laptop is over there where the screen share is. And my laptop is sitting up high on big books. Okay. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because I have a 16-bit card, and my 16-bit card I had submitted to TAG to have graded, but they couldn't grade it because the card was too warped. It's this one right here. It's the McDavid. It's too warped. So I've had this thing sitting in between books for almost for months and months since I moved into this house, which was in February. It's been sitting there. I'm trying to
smush it.
And what's that?
Trying to smush it so it's no longer
trying to flatten it out, And here it is. Oh, it's actually not bad, but you can see it's okay. Here's the card. And let me just do this for a second. Here's the card, and it's slightly bowed. You can see it's slightly bowed, but it used to be even worse. I'm going to put it back in between these books with weight on top of it and let it sit there for another year. Maybe it'll work itself out, and it'll look really nice in a tag slab eventually, because I think this card would just shine in the tag slab. So anyway, there it is, tucked back in there. But thanks for the question, Ali, on those. Let me get the spotlight off myself here.
Here's mine.
Oh, let's see. Hold on, Josh. Hold on. Oh, yeah. See, those are nice. I do think I like the first year design, just more color in the borders, but so is that the first year Gretzky was in the set?
Yes.
Oh, well done, dude. Nice card.
Yeah. What I like about the first years, like the McDavid you have, is the yellow in it. I think that looks really nice in it. And so again, just to emphasize the point, I think they've had McDavid in every year. So if you want the McDavid 16-bit, the 2021 is the one to get, in my opinion.
There you go. Is that the one I have? It must be.
Yeah.
Kinger says SGC7 is $1,700. Must be talking about the Lemieux. Sports Card Professor says, I also used the SCL code yesterday for cards I bought last Sunday, even though there was no show. Thank you, Professor. Really appreciate that. You click on submissions and you'll see a box for all your entries where you can type in SCL. Thank you, Professor. That's you can use the SCL affiliate code when you're selling on Fanatics as well. Dog Food says, curved foils. Welcome to the world of Magic the Gathering and other trading card games, except for Pokemon. Somehow they've mastered proper foiling that doesn't curl. Kinger clarifies, Ali, I just submitted a 23-24 Matthews to PSA and it's bent too. Yeah, like then you're going to get those Newton ring effects and like bent, warped cards don't look great in slabs unless somehow they end up looking great.
Yeah, right, they're technically not foil, they're chromium. And that's and they do have a little bit of that warping issue with them. So there would be the equivalent would be like the Topps Chrome or the Panini Prism. And I think even Topps Chrome had that issue to some degree in the years past, hadn't it?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I've got my binder over there filled with Topps Heritage retrofractors, which are refractors basically, and they're all bowed in their binder pages. It's very noticeable. All right. So there we go. The Lemieux, I'm the leading bidder on the Lemieux right now. Next row, we've got a couple of Gretzky's. Now, these aren't really huge cards by any means, but what's kind of cool with this one here is that it's the 91 OPC base card. And if you in a PSA 10, so if you're doing the player run and you want the OPCs, you're starting in 1979, you're going to work your way through the 80s and get the 1990 and the 91. This card is in there. And for me, I would probably go to 90, 91, and maybe so far I've only gone to 89. I haven't decided if I'm going to go 90, 91 yet, but this is a maybe for me. I checked the population of it the other day. It's like 70 something, if I remember correctly. And then 85. We've got, what is it?
85.
85. Thank you. And then we got the 94 SP 2,500 career points die cut Gretzky card. And this isn't a card that isn't even numbered. It's a pretty, I used to own a copy of this card. It's actually really nice. And this one is, why is it in such a big hole? Oh, this is the jumbo. There were two sizes of this card. This is the jumbo version of the card. There is a smaller version as well. And anyway, it's a PSA 10. I don't know the pop on this. I don't know if you do, Josh, but pretty cool, actually. $72 right now. 5,000 copies produced. Let's have a look at the numbering on the back if we can.
Hey, Jeremy, we got a message in the chat. David is alerting us to some, looks like something might be going on.
Okay. Let's do that. 15 minutes still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're sorry. 20. Yeah, and we're only one row away. We're coming up to it, David. But yeah, you're right. That card is going crazy. This dual shield here that might, Josh, like this isn't just the card of the auction. This might be like the card of the week or the card of the month in the hobby right now, based on what's going on here with it. It's not a rookie. It's a third-year card as well. But maybe it's the first. I'm not going to speculate. I don't track shields very closely. Like what's the first game use shield with an auto for a player, etc. But let's go. Here's a Ovechkin Young Gun PSA 9 at $1,025, which I don't really. Josh, do you know how that ranks for PSA 9 Ovechkins?
No, honestly, that's sort of out of my depth there. I mean, I know a PSA 10 is probably the goals record hype hits its zenith will be around a $4,000 card. So
yeah,
maybe 1,500, something like that.
So this Gretzky 2,500 career points card is actually number 3,777 out of 5,000. So back in the days, that was 5,000 was a small number. So consider that. It's a pretty cool piece for sure. All right, and let me just close up these guys. We looked at all these. Oh, maybe that might be my new copy of the look at that. What a beautiful copy. Wow. All right. Back to here. All right, we're in the row with the Shield. So first off, listen, Michael Ryder, not exactly the most popular player in the history of the NHL, but this is a second-year cup, honorable numbers, and believe it or not, this player does get hobby love. I believe he's from Newfoundland, and there's not a lot, Newfoundland residents and hockey fans like to collect their players from where they're from, and this guy fits right into that. So he gets a lot of love from the whole province. And he's a Montreal Canadian on the card. So that's cool too. It's just a good looking card, but it's only at $13. $13. I mean,
yeah.
The grading is more than that. Let's go over to Draisaitl very quickly. BGS 9.5 Young Guns at $350. We'll come back to the Shield in a sec, Josh. Let's just run through. Okay. A Gretzky auto, numbered 1 of 2. It's a buyback at $600. This is a cool McDavid right here. It is the portraits, but it's the platinum blue out of 25 rookie year card. Maybe one of his shortest print rookie cards out there. Only 25 made in a PSA 10. That's kind of an under the radar piece right there at 11. Oh, pop 4 at 1175. Josh, that might be, among his lowest pop PSA 10 pop rookie cards there are out there. Only 25 made. And
it's kind of funny too about how at the time, over the last 4 or 5 years, and I'm a big fan of this. This is not a criticism of Billy, but portraits has become sort of this abstract playground of, sort of like get weird with it. And this, in 2015, it was still kind of more like a traditional hockey card.
Yeah.
Too. And so I think as much as I like the kind of crazy out there portraits that we see now, that makes this card a little bit more valuable in a sense. It'll have more broad appeal.
I like that outlook. I never thought of it that way. This is when portraits were still portraits in a way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They have definitely, evolved the design of them and really experimented. And I actually think it's good that Upper Deck is experimenting with that card because for all intents and purposes, portraits are cheap inserts. But then you get to the parallel out of 25, a rookie year McDavid makes it a lot more important. Speaking of rookie year McDavid's, right next to it is his Young Gun BGS 9 sitting at $925 right now. And the Gretzky auto over here is an on card. The card's graded at 9. The auto is graded at 10. And it's, he's pictured on the Oilers, which definitely helps. Only 2 copies of this card were ever bought back. It's from 2014 Artifacts. Autograph. Look at the autograph. I mean, it's harder to see the top half, but you can tell this autograph is this autograph should grade an 11. It is absolutely perfect. It's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. The autograph itself on that card. Okay. Want to go to a couple comments, and we're going to go to that Shield because we got to get to that Shield, and we will. I promise you guys that. Ali, we did that one. Professor says, I stopped bidding on the Lemieux box bottom at $190. One sold last week, low 200s. Glad to know this card has caught my eye appeal desert. Yeah, well, listen, I don't, Professor, and to everybody, like, comps can be a blessing and they can be a curse. In this case, that comp could be a curse. You could be missing out on a really great card. Now, I would have to see that copy that sold last week, Professor, and put it beside this one. I don't care that they both maybe say authentic. They're not going to be the same. They're just, maybe they're close, but they're obviously not going to be the same because there's just so much variation in these cards. I'd like to see that one, but at the same time, I don't want to know what comps are. I like to go by my gut on a lot of things, and it's always worked out for me. So I'm good with it. Dog Food says, I thought those cup subsets were highly collected by set collectors. They are. This is, it's up to $15 now. That's very cheap, but it's also at a 73. So maybe a lot of set collectors already have the Michael Ryder from that set. Okay, let's go to the Shield now. I'm just going to close up these windows, keep myself organized here, and let's get into this here. Let's do that. We're going to do this as well. We're going to go to here. I'm going to bring up both images. So here's the front of the card. 2007-8, the Cup, dual autographed NHL Shield, Alex Ovechkin, Nicholas Backstrom. The card is graded a BGS 6. So the centering is a 9, which is fine. You can't even really tell centering on a card like this. Corners are a 7, and I can see there's some white showing up there and down over on the right and maybe on the back as well. Yeah, you got a big corner issue right up there. Down here, you got a chunk and a little chipping up over here on the edge and along the top edge over there on the Backstrom side of the card. Surface is a 5. I mean, I don't know why, but that's, that's scratched on the surface. Maybe this, not sure what this line is down here. And they got the autograph. Now, is the autograph graded? The autographs aren't graded. There's the Backstrom autograph, guys. I will present this without comment. And there's the Ovechkin autograph. And it's in silver, and it's, it's over a silver image of the Cup. It's hard to see. And look what happened to the autograph. You come up here, it's nice and thick, and then he comes up to the picture and it gets very skinny, and then it gets thick again. So it kind of almost bubbled there. I'm really surprised by the price of this card right now, considering
Can I give you some context real quick?
Well, hold on.
That I think you're really going to like.
I'd love you to just let me just get my thought out. There's two things going on here. You've got the grade, the condition of it all, but then you got what this is. This is still an Ovechkin game-used Shield card with his best line mate of all time on the back, Backstrom. It's a very important card. The condition is just the weakness of it, but the card is amazing. Josh, please.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off there.
That's okay.
It's not the only dual Shield Ovechkin card from 07-08 the Cup. Another one is sold, Ovechkin and Patrick Kane. And that sold 2 years ago in October of 2022 for $104,000.
From this same year?
Yeah.
Okay. That's some heavy context right there. Repeat that. Ovechkin, Patrick Kane dual Shield auto from this year.
Yeah, and it's a PSA authentic auto 9. The auto I'm looking at it, it was on a different auction site. The OV auto looks worse in the $104,000 one, in my opinion. And it sold for $104,700 US.
Well, I'm gonna, when you
that was peak COVID, peak pandemic, hobby kind of. So you have to factor that in too.
So if you adjust that price to today, what is it? Half of that still $50,000 maybe if it were to sell today. Now Patrick Kane is a little bit more attractive than Backstrom is,
but they are teammates in this one though.
But they're teammates. They're team exactly. I'd actually prefer the Ovechkin Backstrom to the Ovechkin Kane. Myself, I'd prefer this one. Maybe this is underpriced. I don't know. It's pretty crazy. Wow.
Well, and here's another thing. Here's another point of context I'll give you. So when you look at OV Shields from the early Cup, so like 2005 to 2007, I see 1, 2, 3 sales to date. There was a $50,700 US, 61,200, and then the aforementioned 104,700.
So there's been some movement on that.
Yeah, so I think in that context, it's like 20,000 doesn't seem as insane to me as it did 25 minutes ago.
The other question for me is like, how many autographed Ovechkin Shields are there from the Cup from the first few years of his career? This is a third-year card, like early in the career, like something from 2020. I wouldn't necessarily compare. Look how young he looks here. Mm-hmm. This is early Cup still, when Cup was, back in the early days of Cup. It's a very significant card. There's no doubt about it. There's one. Peep says, do you think the auto is actually cut off? I don't know how that could be possible because I can see it. It's definitely not. This isn't a sticker. This is on card. I definitely think that's auto right there.
Yeah.
I don't think it's cut off. There's nothing to cut it off. There's no mechanism to cut it off here. Again, it's not a sticker. It's on card. So that cannot be the case, Peeps. Do you know what I mean? I don't think Dog Food says someone is paying 20,000 for Ovechkin and 500 for the Backstrom side based on the love Backstrom gets. And Backstrom does not get much love. This might be the card where he gets the most love because he's not just because he's paired off with Ovi, but because he was Ovi's line mate. And this is an important Ovi card. And you look at Ovechkin's, like, all of his goals, who assisted on most of his goals? It's Backstrom. I think that's pretty cool right there. This is a 1-of-1 card, Kinger, as you can see right there. It's definitely a 1-of-1. Backstrom is probably the best player for this. I agree. This card is huge, says Kinger. I agree. It is a huge card. And Peeps, yeah, fair enough, Peeps. But just wanted to make sure that I was clearly explaining that. So this is a huge card. There's no doubt about it. And now thinking about it, 20,000, despite the issues with the card itself, that shield is really important. Really important. And 20,000 might be low at this point. Could be. What do you think, Josh?
Do you like two-sided cards?
Not as much as I would like to like them, I guess. Like I've had some beautiful ones in the past. I don't love. You can't display both sides at once.
Yeah, and so in this case, I mean, sorry, Backstrom, but you know that side's never getting shown. And where it really makes me ponder that is the case of like the Ovechkin Patrick Kane. Like, you're paying a lot of money for a card that's going to be kissing your tabletop for most of its life, or staring at the wall, basically.
Well, yes. If you have your cards in a display, like I have some cards right over there, I'm never going to see the back of them, right? But if you keep I keep my cards in boxes and I pull them out, I can pull out a stack like this and I can just look at it and I can do that. Oh, look at the Backstrom side. That's awesome. Look at the Ovi side. Like,
fair.
That's, you will see it, but I hear what you're saying. And a lot of people have said similar sentiments to what you just said. So I'm not, it makes a lot of sense, but cards like this should not be on display anyway, because of the issue on the autos when you expose them to light. Todd says, I think the pen in the Ovi card just does not stick to the glossy image as well as the area it was designed to be signed on. Exactly right, Todd. Ovechkin just signed outside of the autograph area. They didn't leave him a lot of room, though. They did not leave a lot of room. And Ovi has a small auto as it is. This card is important. It's I think it's like the card of the month right now, Josh, as far as hockey goes. And we'll see. If it doesn't get another bid in the next minute and a half, it's going to sell for just over almost $25,000, just shy of $25,000 out the door. If it doesn't get a bid, it needs a bid to be extended into the first of 6 5-minute extended bidding windows. And right now it needs a bid. So let's just have a look at the rest of the cards here quickly. A couple of Austin Matthews Young Guns, a BGS 9.5 and a PSA 10. And you can see a nice discount on the 9.5, which if you look at these two cards, there's probably very little difference between them. But if you want that PSA 10 label, you're going to pay a premium. If you're okay just buying the card, not the slab, you can probably get a deal on the BGS 9.5. Then we have a 2019 buyback, a buyback Gretzky auto, numbered out of 256. So the card is numbered out of 256, but there are not 256 copies of this card out there with autographs. I'm actually surprised that Upper Deck didn't have him number it, because it is clearly an autograph from a product called Buybacks, where Upper Deck bought these cards back, put them into had Gretzky sign it and put it in the product, but they usually numbered them. How many did they have him sign? Maybe they didn't want to add a second serial number to this card because there already is one. I also love how it's 199 of 256. I think that's probably deliberate by Upper Deck when they added it. Let's go back to the shield, guys, because we are down to 5 seconds. This card is good. This looks like that's going to sell. Looks like that card has been sold now. Let's let the clock turn over here. Yeah, this should. And there we go. $24,600, Josh. And you're telling me that a Patrick Kane Ovechkin dual shield auto sold a couple years ago for over $100,000. That makes this a pretty much a steal, I would think, at this point, based on that context. Crazy.
I don't think the grade matters real much on this either. So
this This is a case where the grade is less important than owning the card. It's a 1 of 1. Yeah.
Yep.
I do like this Gretzky buyback auto, sold for $372 just now. The Young Guns have sold. The Adam Fox does just under $100, and the two Makars do $480 and $468. Let's go to the second page. I'm going to close up some of these. Close that up. Close that up. And now what happened here? These have all so the Bedard O-Pee-Chee rookie card, just his basic O-Pee-Chee rookie, PSA 10s at $64. This is a card that, I mean, if you are still collecting like you did in the 80s, this is the Bedard card that you'd want. We have a Fantilli PSA 10 Young Gun sold for $80. Connor Zary Upper Deck Clear Cut PSA 10 sold for $144. The Connor Bedard PSA 9 Young Gun did $288. That's continues to come down, and Bedard's continue to come down because Bedard's production continues to not be worthy of the prices his cards have been selling for. The PSA 10 sells for $780. I mean, I remember, Josh, a couple months ago, we were doing the show and they were all doing 1,080 around 980, 1,080, 1,020. Then they came out into 850. Now we're sub $800 all of a sudden on the and the pop continues to rise. Josh, do you know where that pop is right now? I can check it really quick because I have a link to it.
Yeah, go ahead and check. I don't know, but I think another issue, other than, you're right, he's not producing like Wayne Gretzky, which basically his values dictate he should be playing like 1981 Wayne Gretzky. And I think another factor that's starting to creep into the hobby a little bit is, Upper Deck is really trying to catch up on releases, and I commend them for that. Over the last 3 months, it's been almost every week. I mean, the market is getting and I think it's card shops are feeling it a little bit. We're just getting so overwhelmed with product right now. And again, I'm not being necessarily critical on Upper Deck in that regard, because it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation.
6,143 PSA 10s. That is the highest PSA 10 population of any hockey card. Is that correct, Josh?
Yes, and I believe now too it's the most graded, I can verify that in a second, hockey card by PSA of all time.
Well, at closing in on 14,000 grades, submissions right there. Yeah.
Yep, the 1990 Jaromir Jagr O-Pee-Chee was graded by PSA 12,649 times.
Yeah.
So it's way ahead of that.
So that, I think those are some of the things that are having the impact on the Bedard Young Gun PSA 10 being sub $800. The question is, where does it level off? I mean, I thought maybe 800, and maybe this is the level off at 780 to 850. Maybe that's a leveled off value, but I don't know. The longer that this season goes on, and he is just an average player, or I shouldn't say that, producing like an average player, because you can't fault him if he doesn't have teammates to help him out. But the hobby will fault him for that if he doesn't put up production. And does this come down, Josh? Like, does it come down to $400, $500, $600? Where do you think? What would your guess be for this season? Just within this season, any speculation and total guess?
Yeah, my assumption is he'll start to score goals. That this is a little bit of an abnormality for him. It's, again, what I'm more worried about is just the overwhelming amount of product and options. The supply of Connor Bedard Young Guns. Again, there's going to be about 1,400 unique Connor Bedard rookie year cards when we're all send down 2022-23 sets, or 2023-24. There was I think there's less than 700 McDavid. So there's going to be more than double the amount of Connor McDavid rookies in the marketplace. And it's just a matter of, is the hobby that much bigger since 2015, and even people collecting, that are collecting McDavid now, to sustain? Yeah, at some point, and I know you're an economics guy too, Jeremy, supply, and demand factors in, and the supply is huge on Connor McDavid or Connor Bedard. Yeah. So when he isn't producing real well, I think it's going to really hurt his market prices.
So thank you for that, Josh. And I agree. Did I miss out on this card? I just tried to get a bid in, and I don't think my bid got in on time. I don't think I got the card. I'm trying. Oh, I won it. I did. Yeah, I got it. Won.
Nice.
1. That green says 1. So I did win that card. Win it. I won the right to pay for it. That's what I won.
Are you happy at that price?
Dude, absolutely. It's a beautiful, beautiful copy of the card. Yeah. I'm very now I own one of the, it's funny. Listen, this, as far as the slab goes, this might be one of the worst copies slab wise, not card wise, but slab wise, because it's in a measly authentic holder. But I also own one of the nicest copies. I have an OPC and a PSA 9 holder as well. So now I have a decision to make. Do I keep both, or do I sell my PSA 9 and cash in thousands of dollars and own this for a measly $312? And all intents and purposes, I'm just as happy because it's a beautiful copy. So I got that decision to make. So we'll see where I go with that. Okay. So, Logan Cooley, PSA 10 Young Gun, does $222. So let's now go back to the first page and slide up to the top and see what's going on here. Looks like most cards have sold. The Mosienko does $810. Beautiful card. The Ted Lindsay PSA 7, $1,050. The second year Gordie Howe PSA 6 sold for $1,710. Beautiful, beautiful card. The Milt Schmidt is still going at $500, as is the Terry Sawchuk at $430. The Bobby Orr card looks like he's in a Halloween costume, sells for $1,230. The Gretzky SGC card sells for $2,520. The Messier rookie PSA 288. I bought this for $312. The Gretzky 1991 O-Pee-Chee PSA 10 does $53. I should have grabbed that too. Damn it. $88 on this is still going. This jumbo 2,500 career point card for Gretzky. 2,500 career points. Just think about that for a second. Right?
Wow.
We're now talking about, I'm seeing a lot of narrative on sports talk about Connor McDavid's next 1,000 points. Now they got to his first 1,000. When's he going to get to his next 1,000? And I saw a great detailed article on this, breaking down when he should get there. And they said by the time he's about 34 or 35, I forget what year it was going to be, but he's probably going to get there, barring a terrible injury. But that's 2,000 points. And here is 2,500 commemorating Gretzky, just how crazy he was. $1,290 on that. Which way was I going here? Down? I was going down. Was I going down? Yeah, I was going down. $420 on the Draisaitl, $25,000 almost on the Dual Shield. $17 on this, but it's still alive on the Michael Ryder. This card is still $750 now. Nice to see this jump up a bit. $750 on the first Gretzky buyback and still going. $1,410 on the rookie year Portraits McDavid. $1,110 on the BGS 9 McDavid Young Gun. These are all solds. The Matthews Young Guns, the BGS 9.5 does $528, while the PSA 10 does $810. That's almost a $300. That's over a 50% increase to go from the 9.5 to the 10. $372. This is what this Gretzky buyback auto sold for, and we saw those already. So, okay, going to some comments here quick. Kinger says, off topic because you're watching the Rangers right now, the bread man doesn't get much hobby love and he's in New York. That's bananas. Yeah, it is. I mean, Artemi Panarin's a great player, gets tons of points and doesn't get much hobby love. I don't know any current New York Rangers that get, like, Zibanejad doesn't get much hobby love. Panarin, maybe Adam Fox might get the most there. I mean, Lafreniere, I mean, they got a great team, but nobody there is commanding a lot of hobby love. Larry says, I have a few nice BGS discount cards in my collection, but I hate the BGS slabs, the thickness, the weight, the non-standard size in my mostly PSA and SGC collection. I hear you on that. I'm not a huge fan of the slab either, but for other reasons. The biggest reason is because the plastic gets really cloudy. It's just a really low quality plastic is what I find. Do you find that as well, Larry? How do you like the clarity of the slab? So one thing you didn't mention, and to me, that's my biggest issue with it. Dog Food says, what happens with sealed Series 2 product with Bedard in it? Does it also come back to reality? You'd think it would, but it has to come down a little bit as that card comes down in value. But there are other things driving that, like the red outbursts, like the gold outbursts. Like there are other chases in there that could cause it to not come down too much, but eventually it's going to have to. If it's not selling, it's going to have to.
Yeah, I have a little bit comment on that too. That's sort of related to wax and what we were talking about earlier with the Bedard Young Guns. And I know I never really answered your question. I'm going to sort of not answer it in a different way too. I don't think I'm comfortable buying a Bedard base Young Guns PSA 10. I just have no idea where the pop is going, and that scares me too much. And here's my alternative. Now it's more money, but the Outburst Silver is going for about 2600 right now. So it is a premium. Look at the pop count, 121. And those are I'm much more comfortable spending 2700 on that card than I am 800 on Bedard's base Young Guns PSA 10 right now.
Josh, I couldn't agree more. Not only because of the pop count, but also look at the gem rate. 121 out of about 500. What's that? 20? It's a 20% gem rate.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's right. Is that right? No, it's
no, let me. So
not 20.
Give me 1 second. 121, 493, technically, right?
20. Yeah, it's 24.5% gem rate.
Yeah, 24.5%.
Still pretty. I like that. You're right. This is the sweet spot on the Bedard Young Guns.
That's the card, in my opinion. That's the card for me, and I think they're beautiful too. And that's my opinion, of course. But if I'm buying a Bedard Young Guns, that's reasonable. That's not an Outburst Red out of 25, where you get into big money territory. I'm getting the Silver Outburst.
I'm with you. I think, that now you've got the silver foil. These are achievement cards from EPAC, a little bit different. I don't know, they're not pack pulled. They're EPAC. They're not even EPAC pulled. They're achievement pulled, right? So they're
combined.
They're right. But you didn't get them out of an EPAC. You got them on the EPAC platform, but not out of an EPAC of Series 2.
It's right? 5 digital Bedard based Young Guns are combined to make a silver foil, and then 3 silver foil are combined to make the speckled rainbow foil.
Sure. Okay. So the Young Gun on EPAC is still pack pulled. It's not physically pack pulled. It's EPAC, but it's out of an actual pack on the EPAC platform. Whereas these silver foils and the speckled are combined from cards that were pack pulled on the EPAC platform. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit different.
Well, they're both produced at the same time, and they're all at ComC. So at the time that Series 2 was produced, Upper Deck had whatever X quantity of silver foil and speckled rainbow produced as well. And what they do is they burn the base Young Guns that are used to combine, that they don't use for replacement cards in customer service issues. They just dispose of them, is from my understanding.
Okay, all good, but that doesn't address what I'm saying. I don't think. I'm saying that an a Connor Bedard Young Gun itself is pulled out of a pack of Series 2 when you go to the LCS or you ordered or whatever.
Yeah.
If you're an EPAC buyer because you don't have an LCS or whatever, and you're going on EPAC and you buy a box on EPAC and it's a digital box, but it still represents actual cards, and you open up those packs on EPAC, those to me are pack pulled. They're just EPAC pulled.
Yes.
Whereas the silver foil and the speckled foiled rainbow you can't open those out of an EPAC. You have to combine to get them.
Yep.
Now, this might, 30 years from now, when all these cards have been delivered to their rightful owners, are people going to care how you got them or whether they came out of a pack or not? I doubt it at that point. So what I'm saying might not even hold water, in the future. But for now, I do think of it that way. In any event, the reason I'm even bringing this up is because when I look at which is the one here, well, the silver foil, there's only 13 of them, and it has a conservative gem rate as well, but it's not pack pulled while the Outburst is. And that leads me back to the Outburst as the card for me if I'm looking for a PSA.
Well, I would give you an example on pack pulled. It's like, look at all the Gretzky autos from the early 90s Upper Deck. All those ones that are like 500, and there's the triple one with Hull and Lemieux that were all made by Ken Golden's dad. Basically, they were post-production sort of autographs that they had signed. And I think the hobby does look at those versus pack-pulled autos as different. And so, I don't know. It's hard to have a crystal ball, but today, I think that, the current or I feel like the hobby does put a premium on pack pull.
Agreed. So Kinger, it's 95 on the clear cut, which are pack pulled. But to me, it's not the card for me. I would prefer the Outburst. I think Outbursts are really cool looking too. But the pop is 95 out of 149 submissions. So, basically a 66% gem rate there. Dog Food wants to know, what's the comfortable price for a PSA 10 Bedard Young Gun? Well, Chris, I mean, I think we're kind of seeing it right now because this is the lowest they've been, at least on the Fanatics Collect platform, about at 780. So right now, this is as comfortable as you've had the chance to be. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the comfortable price is. For me, it's zero. I'm just not buying one. I'm like Josh. I would buy a different card altogether. Oh, Ovechkin with an empty netter to get the hat trick. Crazy, Mike. Crazy stuff, right? 3 goals for Ovi, Josh. Isn't that nuts?
That's crazy. I do have one more. I want to answer that question too, just sort of in my way. I would say for me, the comfortable price for a PSA 10 base Bedard Young Guns is whatever you're comfortable paying for it as a collector card. I don't consider that card an investment card. And I'm probably in the vast minority because I think most of the hobby does. But I just think there's too many red flags with it going forward, where if I'm going to take an investment approach to Bedard, that's one of the last cards on my list.
I think you put it really well there. I agree. I just noticed Natchez on Carolina has 3 points tonight. So
wow,
he's I had the did I have? That's not it. Where did I have the current scores? Maybe I don't have it up there right now, but anyway, that's pretty crazy. Okay, let's just go back to the auction for a moment here, guys. We got lots of hockey talk to cover, but let's just see what's going on here. The Gordy 1710, those have all sold. These have all sold now. Everything's sold here. This Gretzky is still alive for a couple more minutes anyway. Oh, it's going to be extended to the next window. So 7 more minutes going on that one. The Michael Ryder needs a bid to go past $19. Those have all sold. 900 on this Gretzky auto now. 372 there, 810. If we saw those, we've seen those. And then on the second page, yeah, all those and these guys here all pretty much have sold. So there's not much left for us to watch on the Fanatics auction right now. So let's continue with some comments here. Professor says, just to clarify on using the Sports Cards Live promo, when you buy cards on the Fanatics platform, they are submitted after you pay. So you can use the affiliate link when bidding or use it after you pay. Well, thank you for that, Professor. Thank you very much, guys. So yeah, please, if you're bidding, please use the code. I greatly appreciate it. It is pinned to the top of the chat. Thorson Collectibles in the house. Josh, this is your Minnesota brethren right there from Expo. Got a picture with him. What's going up, Thorson? It was great to see you at the Expo. Larry says, I'm surprised that many Bedards are combined when Raws were going for 300 plus, but there is no way Raw Silvers are getting 1,500 or Speckles 4,500. I sold all my Bedards but one of the PSA 10s. Very good. Very good, Larry. Congratulations on getting out at a good time, I would say. Thorson says hi to you, Josh, as well. What's up?
Hey, bud.
Kinger agrees with something you've just said. Very nice, Kinger. Thank you for that. Okay, so let's talk about Ovechkin for a second here now. Let's go to all-time. Let's get rid of that ad. All-time NHL goal scorer. So this is the all-time list here, guys. Gretzky, 894. Ovechkin is now 866. 866. That is crazy. That is just crazy. Now, this year alone, he's got, God, these ads are annoying as heck. So he started the night, Ovechkin, with 10 goals. He's now got 13 goals in 17 games. Wow, Josh, 13 goals in 17. I mean, he's on pace for 50 plus. That's absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. he could get there sooner than we all thought, especially me. Absolutely crazy. How awesome is that, hey?
It's
Okay.
amazing. And I got to be delicate quick by making this quick comment. He seems superhuman in the sense that most of these guys in their late 30s that are performing at elite levels in sports, like Tom Brady, or even look at Crosby, right? It's they treat their bodies as a temple,
Mm-hmm.
and they put so much work into maintaining their high level of athleticism. And Ovi kind of seems like he's still crushing Pepsis on the bench. And, like he had the total dad bod rocking this summer. And I that was the one thing that really concerned me is like, man, you know this, like we're in our 40s, you hit a certain point and that you can't do what you did anymore. And I've always, that's been my main concern, that he would hit that point where, the fact that, and I'm not saying he should have been like Tom Brady and eat avocado ice cream and whatever the heck he does, all, no foods that have zero inflammation and have zero body fat. But I just wasn't real confident that, given sort of his laissez-faire approach to maintaining his athleticism, that he wouldn't just fall off a cliff. And look at me, I'm the idiot.
Well, yeah, it's like what we saw with Mike Tyson the other night. How he clearly is showing his age. But to your comment about we're in our 40s, I wish I was in my 40s, Josh.
Yeah,
I'll say that. Yeah. Now I want to share this with you guys. This is the current score, and this is up to the end of the games that have ended today. Scoring leaders in the NHL: Nathan MacKinnon in first place with 33. Kaprizov, Ewan Thorson's guy, with 31. Look at Martin Necas. Third. Now this is up to date. He scored 2 goals today. He's got 30 points in 17 games. This guy's come out of nowhere to be a top 3 right now point getter in the NHL. Is this guy for real, Josh? Is this guy going to be and how old is this guy? Is he like?
No, his age is right there, 25.
Oh, was it?
If
right
you go
there?
back, his age is right on the.
Yeah, right there. He's 25 years old. Really coming into his prime right now.
He had asked out of Carolina this summer because he wasn't happy with his role, and Rod Brindamore really challenged him. And so to me, it makes sense in that he's at that sort of career inflection point where his career is going to go one way or the other. And I think he's very motivated to prove that he is an elite level player and deserves one of those 8x8s or 8x9s kind of contracts that all these guys seem to be getting. The guy that's surprised me is, and I don't know, and I know he's sort of I think a new side PC of yours. I wasn't super confident that Sam Reinhart was gonna, I kind of thought last year was maybe a little bit of a magical year for him, but he's picking up right where he left off. Geez, 13 goals.
Yeah, well, let's look at his career here. So 94 points last year. 67 the year before, not great. 82 his first year with Florida, 82 points. But Buffalo, look, this is a sign of playing with Buffalo, which hasn't had much offensive output ever. So he was kind of stagnating there. Comes to Florida, is on a real team with a lot of good players, and had one bit of a downer season here, even a -12 for whatever reason. Who knows what he was going through? But look at that bounce back there last year. Scores the Stanley Cup winning goal, and now this year he's on pace for well over 100 points.
Yeah, and the 57 goals last year. I mean, that's a lot.
That's a lot of goals. Well, he's got, let's just see, he's got 28 points in 18 games right now. So 28 divided by 18 times 82, 127 points is the pace that Sam Reinhart is on right now, which is just awesome. I love to see it. And Martin Necas is on an even bigger pace, right? 30 divided by 17 times 82, 145. Like, that's absolutely it's ridiculous. Never mind Kaprizov and Nathan MacKinnon as well. Eichel is another guy. Eichel, to see him above, well, obviously McDavid's been hurt, but it's nice to see Eichel up there as well in the top 10 scorers. Never mind top 10. And Jesper Bratt in the top 10 right now. That's amazing. I love seeing him and Nate just in here. And I love seeing Reinhardt as well. And Eichel. All of them. I love seeing it all. I'm happy for all these guys. Dylan Strome up there. Look at that. Konechny, top 15 player. Above Kyle Connor at this point.
Do you want a crazy McKinnon stat too?
Great. Natchez is great in Carolina now for sure. What are you saying about the Leafs here, Mike? Seems like all the trolls have gone quiet on Mitch Marner already. 24 points leading the Leafs. Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. He's doing well. And Thorson, do I need to remind you that Phil Kessel is the NHL Iron Man?
Yeah,
Phil Kessel,
fair point.
He's an enigma. He's a legend. I love Phil Kessel. He's one of those just great charismatic guys that you just love. I do for sure. He's like Jeremy Roenick in a way. He's got that kind of like attitude where he just does his thing. All right. I also wanted to touch on Hall of Fame stuff tonight, Josh. We're coming up on what was usually the end of the show. Let's take a couple minutes and touch on. We won't get into to the extent that I thought we might, but Hockey Hall of Fame 2025 class. Now that the 2024 Hall of Fame is over, 2025 list of eligible players. I brought up the Score and the NHL Network. So the NHL.com shows these notable first-year eligible players next year. Joe Thornton, Duncan Keith, Carey Price, Zdeno Chara, Ryan Getzlaf, Tuukka Rask, Dustin Brown, and Eric Stahl. Now, only 4 men can get into the Hall of Fame in any given year. And first-year no-brainers to me are Joe Thornton. On this list, Joe Thornton's a no-brain Hall of Famer on the first ballot, even though he never won a cup. Hard to say Duncan Keith isn't, even though I'm not as in favor of that. Same thing goes with me and Carey Price. I love Zdeno Chara. I'd love to see him get in. And then these other guys, 4 guys down here, I don't think they get in this year. I think the top 4 are your strongest candidates to get in next year on the first ballot. Carey Price will probably get in just because he's so well loved. Zdeno Chara, I think he's got to get in. I mean, he's just for being as tall as he is and being so good year after year after year. So I like those guys to get in, those top 4. The Score, which one of Canada's sports network, says first ballot locks: Zdeno Chara, Duncan Keith, Carey Price, they're calling a lock, and Joe Thornton. So I kind of agree with that. Should get in eventually. Ryan Getzlaf, I think he should get in. Tuukka Rask, I think he should get in. Jason Spezza, I don't know. I'm not against it. He should be in the Hobby Hall of Fame because his RPA was, one of the first to become $1,000 card. Him and Rick Nash were from the Premier Cards, but that's a different story. PK Subban, I don't think he gets in. His career, I just don't think he gets in. I don't think he had a long enough career. Braden Holtby has a chance. Honorable mentions: Dustin Brown, fair. Keith Yandel doesn't get in. Dustin Brown could get in potentially. Those are my thoughts there. So Mike does call out Alex McGillney. So that's a different analysis because these are first-year eligibles, whereas Alex McGillney should get in. And that's where we look at. So this is on the Hockey Hall of Fame website. You have your 2024 induction eligible players. Now this is a bit old. We know that Datsuk got in. We know that Shea Weber got in this year. Miller and Rene did not get in, but they will be eligible next year for sure. And then you come down to these are the players that are not in yet, but that meet some of the qualifications, whatever those qualifications are. So you go through this list and you go through who is going to get in. Tony Amonte, not going to get in. Arnott, no. Babbage, Backstrom, Bellows, Bondra, probably not. Brindamore, I'd love to see Brindamore get in. I'd love to see Shane Doan get in. I doubt that he gets in. Same with Eliash. Theron Fleury, I'd love to see it. Don't know if he's going to get in. And Josh, feel free to jump in anytime if you think,
Sure.
A player should. Vincent Lecavalier, probably not going to get in, but a great name. John Leclerc, a great name. And here's Alex McGillney. I think he should get in. Will he? I hope so. Owen Nolan, no. One of my all-time favorites. Teppo Newman, and a bunch of you guys probably haven't even heard of him, but he's one of my all-time favorite players because they're from Winnipeg. Jeremy Roenick got in. Gary Roberts, probably not going to get in. Dave Taylor, Steve Thomas. Keith Tkachuk might get in. There's a lot of talk about that. Rick Tocchet, he's coaching in the NHL. Does that help out his case? Maybe, but who knows? Henrik Zetterberg probably gets in, but I say probably, but maybe not. I don't know. Doug Waite, you never know. Goaltenders, You run down this list: Sean Berg, Hextall, Kelly Rudy, Cujo should probably get in eventually. I'm surprised Andy Moog isn't in. Just he's got cups. He's got all those cups with Edmonton, even though he wasn't.
Osgood.
Osgood is it's Osgood and Cujo that I think are most likely to get in. Mike Richter. I mean, I think he should get in too. He's got a lot of accolades. Stanley Cup, right? Is that a Stanley Cup he's got? Yeah, he's got the Stanley Cup from 94. I believe 94. Van Beesbrook, probably not. So, and those are some of my thoughts. What are these guys here? Players who are eligible. Yeah, these guys are no big names there.
So it's Papa Walt who's got the most goals not in the Hall of Fame, right? It's a 5.
Who's that? Or do you want me to?
Keith Tkachuk.
Keith Tkachuk. So let's look at 500 goal scorers that aren't in. Peter Bondra.
Yeah.
Jeremy Roenick's in. Keith Tkachuk and Pat Verbeek. So there's 3 guys with 500 goals that are not in the Hall of Fame yet that have been eligible for more than 1 year. That's interesting. How about 1,000-point? There's a lot of 1,000-point guys. 6 Stanley Cups for Ralph Backstrom, and he's not getting in. A lot of 1,000-point guys. I'm not going to go through them all. There's kind of too many of them to go through. So it's interesting. But let's go to your guys' comments now, see what you guys are talking about while we're going through all. Okay, McGillney's overdue. Professor says Michael Ryder. Did you win the card, Professor? Or do you think he should be in the Hall of Fame? Because he will not get in the Hall of Fame. Mike says, I don't think Spezza, Rask, or Subban should get in. But what about Rask? I mean, he's got Stanley Cups. He was a great goaltender for so long. But I'm okay with you saying not. I'm okay with him not getting in as well. Jeff McMahon says Thornton, Chara, and Price for sure. I agree. Even though I'm not a huge Carey Price fan, I agree still. Justin Collins says Rick Nash should be in the Hall, in my opinion. I don't know about that. Let's go to Rick Nash.
Wait, is there a question here? Sorry, just that should the Hall of Fame be the greatest of the greats, or it's like, I think,
or is the Hall of very good? Is that what you're getting at?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's why I look at Rick Nash, 1,060 games played with only 805 points, no real team success, I don't think. Played with Columbus for a while, then the Rangers, I believe. Only 805 points in 1,060 games. On a championship, he has 1 Olympic gold and 1 World Championship title. I don't think he should get in. I just don't see it. He should be in the Hockey Card RPA Hall of Fame because him and Spezza were the first ones to get to $1,000. That means nothing. I don't think he should get into the Hall. But hey, I'm glad that you do, Justin Collins, and I don't have an issue with you thinking that. Larry says at some point when everyone is trying to time the market for the best time to sell, that will flood the supply and soften prices. The hobby's getting too smart for its own good. Comes back to what we were talking about, when to sell Ovechkin young guns. Thorson says McGillney, Rod the Bod, and Keith Tkachuk. Yeah, I'm with you, Thorson. Like, I'd love to see those 3 guys get in, before they can't get in anymore. Mike W says, as a kind, anyone with 1,000 points was at a time maybe.
I think as a kid.
As a kid. Okay. Anyone with 1,000 points was a lock for the Hockey Hall of Fame. Not anymore. Both Damphousse and Nichols have over 1,200 points, and yet no love yet. Good point. Kinger says, when I was younger, I mixed him up with Shane Churla. David G. Thornton and Chara have the numbers and dominated the league at times. Yeah, for Thornton's a no-brainer. He's an absolute no-brainer. Jeff McMahon says Tkachuk and Zetterberg should get in soon. I'd like to see that. Brett S. says goalies with 400-plus wins should be in. I think you're right. Oh, you won the Michael Ryder card, Professor. Congratulations. You probably would win it for $25. Congratulations. Dog Food Soup says, question, the stats on Hockey Hall of Fame websites are NHL only. How do you factor in World's Olympics? Well, they factor them in terms of winning, but not the points in the tournaments. And I think that's the right way to do it. So I hope that answers your question. Rask has 1 cup as a backup. Okay. If that's all it is, then I don't give that as much value. And that fits in that Andy Moog kind of bucket as well. So thanks for that. Thorson says, if Owen Nolan is not in, I don't know how we can push Nash in. Very similar players, both longtime captains, but Nolan was better in my opinion. I'd say, Rick Nash was pretty good for a while there too. But remember, he was on a horrible Columbus team from expansion. So Tough. Yeah.
So how do you look at a guy like I'm looking at just the screen here? You got Jay Bouwmeester, right? He was a triple gold member.
Look at all those champions: 2 Canada World Cup titles, 1 Stanley Cup, 1 Olympic gold, and 2 World. Yeah, I mean, but his
no points, no production.
But he was a stay-at-home defenseman, right?
Yeah.
So you don't like defensemen shouldn't have to rely on points to get into the Hall of Fame if they were a great defenseman that maybe wasn't an offensive defenseman. It's a different criteria, I would say. But based on this, he should be in because that's better than anyone else on here. Like it's better than everyone.
Yeah, so he might be the only triple gold member not in the Hall of Fame.
Right. And should he get there? I mean, like, should you be in the Hall of Fame because you rode the coattails of other great players? I'm not saying he did that. It's a team sport still. But, he was a stay-at-home defenseman. Was he a key part in any of these 6 wins, championship titles? I don't know. I didn't follow him close enough. But
yeah,
it's a great question, Josh, for sure. It's a fun discussion. All right, guys. We're right around the time we usually end the episode. The professor won the Michael Ryder for $24. I mean, you can't go wrong. It's what's that? 1/1000th of the Shield card here, which I know makes no sense to compare the two. But congratulations, Professor, on that. Chat, want to thank you all for joining us tonight. If you have any final comments, questions, please put them in there. We still got 80 people with us right now between everywhere. And there's Joe on Instagram as well. A little late for me to say, hey, if you're watching on Instagram, come on over to YouTube. That's where the action is. Dog Food Soup says last rider sold 6 weeks ago for $53. Slightly nicer patch. 24 is a great deal. Oh, Thorsten says, Josh, show the acetate. I think he must be talking about your Kaprizov.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not going to turn that down.
And of course, it's right on his desk.
There we go.
So tell us what this is.
Let's Kaprizov's Young Guns acetate. It was my only Expo pickup, really. Well, no. Neil, my good buddy, Irish, got this signed for me, so I was really happy about that. I think I was on stage when Statsny was signing, so he did me a solid there. But again, I don't know how much I like of an investable type card, but he's our first superstar here for the Minnesota Wild, and to me, it's my favorite Young Guns. And excited to get it. It is crazy when you have. Do you have an acetate?
No.
There's
I have acetate cards, but I don't have a Young Gun acetate.
Yeah, they get confused with the clear cut for obvious reasons, but there's no comparison.
Really? Interesting.
No, they're so much thicker. They're rainbow foiled where clear cuts are not. Yep. They're light years cooler.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, congrats. Thorsten says, I want one so bad. Glad you got one, buddy. Richard Goring, who are you talking about? Michael Ryder or Rick Nash or Jay Bouwmeester? Not sure. Justin Collins says, should I secure Lemieux box bottom or upgrade my OPC PSA 5? If you love your OPC PSA 5, just be happy with that. Otherwise, it's a great question. It's a really good question. I'll tell you what my situation is. I just got to confirm. I got to look at my collection for a moment because I went through a similar kind of conundrum, Justin. And I, at one time recently, about a year ago, I owned a PSA 9 OPC rookie Lemieux, a PSA 10 Topps Lemieux rookie, and a PSA 9 OPC box bottom. So I had like 3 of his rookie cards. And now I have the box bottom still and the PSA 10 Topps. I sold off my PSA 9 OPC a long time ago, like a year ago. So I say that because I sacrificed my OPC altogether in order to keep not in order, but and I kept the box bottom. So I'm a bigger fan of the box bottom than I am the pack pulled rookie, OPC rookie. Mm-hmm. I kept the Topps 10 because it's a 10. So I just thought, from an investment perspective, it's a good piece to have. But I love the box bottom. As you saw, I bought one tonight on the platform. So, and it's a double. I don't usually do that, but I kind of thought it's just too nice to let go. Great opportunity. And again, I want to have the option now to maybe I sell my PSA 9 O-Pee-Chee box bottom because it's a super valuable card, and I've got another nice replacement. So it's something I'm going to think.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm going to do that. I'm going to think about it for sure. Yeah, Kinger is right. I love that it's a different photo. Oh, you're saying different. You're talking about okay. Kinger is talking about the
Acetates.
acetate. I'm talking about the box bottom, but the statement applies to both cases. Funny enough. Thank you, David G. Appreciate that. Thorson says, my favorite conversation started at the Expo was telling people Lemieux is better than Gretzky, and I actually mean that. You're not alone. A lot of people feel that way, and that's okay. It's a tough comparison to make for me, but and Professor says he will use the SCL code during submissions. Thank you, Professor. Always appreciate your support, and it doesn't cost anyone anything extra to use the SCL affiliate codes when you're buying on Fanatics or selling on Fanatics. So I genuinely and greatly appreciate all your guys' support when you are buying and selling on the Fanatics platform. All right. And thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you to Josh for, again, being here. Josh, I do know what episode number this is for us on. It's kind of fun to track it, like how many of these shows have we done together? So let me go find that really quickly. And I'm going to tell you what episode this is for Josh and I doing this on the channel. This is episode 68 that we've done. That means we've spent, Josh, we have spent 68 times. I was thinking about this earlier today. How many hours have we spent together? 68 times, about an hour and a half each, 102 hours divided by 24. We've spent 4.25 days together here on the screen, Josh, with the chat. How's that?
On this show, we've done a little bit of Gong Show stuff too. So even more
outside of this show. Yeah, of course. Dog Food says, this was great. Such good interaction with the chat. Have a great night. Thank you, Chris. And good to reconnect with you after a few years. Good to see you, buddy. Chris is an old, long-standing member of Hobby Insider, and seen him at several card shows back in the 2000s. So great to see you, Chris. Kinger, glad you're here, guys. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We're going to wrap this one up. And keep in mind, this Thursday, I will be back here with Adam Gray for the Fanatics Collect premiere auction, which is an amazing show. So come join us for that. We'll be talking about all sports, big cards, of course, and we'll do a bunch of this or that. I got them lined up already to go. It'll be a lot of fun. Thank you, Richard Goring. Really appreciate that. Thank you for being here. To everyone else as well. Josh, say goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
And with that, this episode of the Fanatics Collect weekly hockey auctioning watch party here on November the 17th, 2024 is now over.